Emotions can impact our health for good or bad. There are things like worry, stress, fear, resentment, and those will manifest themselves physically in our body over time if we don't do something about those emotions. When I was in college, I read a book called Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert, and she had a PhD in, I believe, psychoneuroimmunology. She talked about how emotions can translate into our health if we're not careful about them. But you don't need to have a PhD to know that having negative emotions is not good for you. So today I want to talk briefly about a tool or a mechanism that will help you relieve those, and it's probably something you wouldn't think of, but it's the concept of forgiveness. I know a lot of times people have been teased or bullied or wronged or neglected or abused, whatever the case. We can all think back of times in our lives when we might have felt that way and how it's hard to forgive someone, but when we hold on to those emotions, we're the ones that suffer. I've heard of people who on their deathbed are still brooding and stewing in these angry emotions of something that someone did to them long ago, sometimes like 30, 40 years ago. They just can't let go or forgive and move on, and it's just hurting them so bad. There are lots of examples from literature and movies of characters or people who couldn't forgive or let go and move on, but they just kind of ate away at them, and you could see how that hurt them. One of the examples I like is from Victor Hugo's The Bishop's Candlesticks. This, also better known as Les Mis, but in here we've got Jean Valjean. When he's released from prison, he stays over one night with a priest, and while he's there that night, he basically beats him up and steals his silverware. And when he's arrested and brought back, the priest, I'm amazed always with this scene, how he just so quickly forgives him, and in return just gives him even more stuff to take with him.
We searched his knapsack and found all this silver. He claimed that you gave it to him.
Yes? Of course I gave him the silverware. But why didn't you take the candlesticks? That was very foolish. Madame Gillot, fetch the silver candlesticks.
And then you contrast that with the other character, Javert, the police inspector who's following him all the time, just so obsessed with him, just can't let go, and it becomes his downfall in the end, that he just can't get past that. Anyway, those are some of my favorite examples from movies of the concept of being able to forgive and let go and move on. Another example I love from movies is in Lord of the Rings. There's a scene where Aragorn's fighting this Uruk-hai, and he stabs it, but this thing's just a monster. It's just a killing machine, and all it thinks about is getting him. And so it just grabs his sword and pulls it into himself, and it doesn't realize that doesn't even care that he's hurting himself with this, and just too stubborn and foolish. And I think sometimes we're that way when it comes to someone. When we've been hurt, we're just going to hold on to it and keep persisting instead of let go and do something about it. It's important for us to let go of these negative emotions we've experienced, because when we hold on to them and harbor them and actually nurture them, they're just going to grow and manifest themselves in a negative way in our health. Okay, so I have a challenge for you for this week, and this is something that's easier said than done. Think of someone that might have wronged you, or someone that you could forgive for something they've done to you that you haven't yet, and try and forgive them. A lot of times we think that this is just a spiritual or a social exercise, but the concept of forgiveness, it's also a physical one. Will benefit physically if we can do that. So I just want to encourage you to do that this week. Stay tuned for more videos, and I will have a new one next week for you.
Do it.